Season of mists and mellow fruitfulness, close bosom friend of the maturing sun, conspiring with him how to load and bless with fruit the vines that round the thatch eaves run, to bend with apples the mossed cottage trees, and fill all fruit with ripeness to the core. Sorry, I'm not going to read any more of that. But you will recognise that poem, To Autumn. And this message from me is to do with Father Hudson's and the autumn ahead of us. I've taken this theme because my wife was saying recently to me, she'd heard somebody speaking who had said, and this winter is very terrible and difficult to cope with. And she said to me, but he's forgotten about the autumn, and the autumn is such a lovely time. It's not all doom and gloom. And so I want to talk really about the autumn. At Father Hudson's, we've had a tough 6 months, as has everyone else. And it's been particularly tough because we've tried to keep every service going. And if we've had to limit them in some way, we've tried to find innovative ways of developing new services for the same client groups and others. So it's been tough, and I think it's hard for the staff to think that there's at least another 6 months. It's obviously hard for all of us, but in adult care, for example, they've done a terrific job and are continuing to do this in the various services. And they've had to do this right through because they're 24/7 and the services couldn't close. One of the services that was affected was the day service, and for a period it wasn't safe for the adults who come there who have got profound learning needs and disabilities. But what the manager and team did there is they worked with their head of adult care to see how they could redesign the service. And in September, they began doing more and more outreach to support families and their adult children. And for some, they were able to open up the day service again as a physical building because they could ensure COVID safety and they could work out bubbles of staff, and as the schools have done. So, I mean, they were terrific, I have to say, and they're carrying on with that. And then our family support and our fostering team, they've continued in the summer to do visits, safe visits, in the gardens and with PPE where necessary and always social distancing. So they made the most of that brief period in the summer when you could do that. But the family support workers are back in school now because the schools are back, and I'm really pleased for the children and young people and hope that the schools manage to keep going. And our family support workers have been there right through, obviously, and our fostering team are there and will do the visits, particularly in a crisis period. And then some of our other services are in the autumn. They too are part of the autumn season. Mellow fruitfulness, it's ripe. They are full of life still, because no one is giving up, and no one will give up here. Take Table House. You may have heard how it had to close. Then the team helped Birmingham City Council run the hotel in town for over 50 people who were homeless. Then Table House, when that all-in, everyone-in scheme by the government ended, end of July. During that period, the management committee at Table refurbished, put in new pods to ensure COVID safety, turned into 24/7 instead of just an evening, all night and early morning service. Remarkable adjustment. And they've acquired a lease on a new house, working with a local Catholic school. and refurbishing that at this very moment, and it will be available. So there's no stopping them. And that's the same. How has the sanctuary and brushstrokes continued through all of this? And Fatima House and Sophia House. But not only have they continued, but they are ready now for this terrible period ahead of us. By terrible, I mean a lot of the safety nets are being withdrawn. And so we'll be there. I wish we were bigger, I wish we were stronger. We'll do what we can, but we know that at Fatima, the few spare places there are for asylum-seeking women, they'll go very quickly in September and October. Table House will fill up because people, sadly, will be left without support again from statutory services. It's hard to say because we work well with statutory services, but it's worrying. And so we have to be there, and we'll be there. But and I'm hoping other charities will be there because there's a lot of things that won't be there. We're going to keep doors open. So autumn is a time. It's not just a time where you think about winter. It's a time when you think the fruitfulness of our approach, and we'll continue with that. So there's not one service that isn't attempting to do more. Even a brand new service in Rugeley, a community sponsorship scheme led by a group of parish volunteers, ready to welcome a Syrian family for resettlement. When the flights start again, they're ready. A similar scheme in Oxford, I heard the father of the family speaking in a Zoom meeting on Sunday about the difference that group of volunteers in that parish had made to that family. What a wonderful... the same father whom that group of volunteers had helped is himself during COVID helping other families distributing food. He's going around to them distributing food. All of the work we do attempts to help people, young, middle-aged, whatever that is now, old, whatever that is now, to live life to the full. So we're with Keats on this one. We are. And I hope you're with us, because if you want to ensure brightness and mellow fruitfulness, and that there is something there for people, please support us. And we value, obviously, your money, because that helps us deliver services, but your prayers, and actually your interest. Sometimes when I read a letter from a donor or just someone who likes our work, where it's positive, that lifts our hearts, because we know that we are doing it together with our supporters. I always try to mention Origins because it's our service that works confidentially with those who are in care in our children's homes or were adopted through Father Hudson's years and years ago, and it's an ongoing support service that they've been busier than ever, and I think during the autumn will continue to be, because people can't wait. They can't wait to find out what they need to know about their origins. That brings peace of mind and hopefully healing to them. So once again, thank you. And Christmas will take place this year. We always find ways of celebrating. It might be more intimate, less crowded, so what? As long as we celebrate and in both ways, both socially and spiritually, I hope. I mean, we've just had a wonderful event, it just completed today, in fact, in St. Joseph's, our care home, where, thanks to a private donor, we've been able to put in live streaming equipment into our chapel so that anyone in any part of St. Joseph's now can join in the Mass. And we've also put the same live streaming into the Terrace Cafe in St. Joseph's, where we have music events. And we know, and the managers are very hopeful, that when Christmas comes, and well before then, we can stream live music into every part of St. Joseph's to help with the joy, because we intend to keep living for as long as we do keep living, because that's what God gave it to us for. So thanks anyway for listening. Take care. Look after yourselves too.